YouTube is live. Facebook connecting.
Oh, yeah.
Facebook is doing something weird.
Yeah, just hit both of them. We'll see if they pop up. YouTube's working.
Cool, perfect.
YouTube.
And Insta's good too. Click and go live on Insta. Insta's going. You can start talking while I work on Facebook.
So they're all live.
Not Facebook. I gotta mess with Facebook a little bit.
I keep thinking I'll be able to see Instagram. Maybe not, though. That's all right. I'll see if it pops up. I'll just kind of set it right here. All right. Welcome to the Jared Briggs Show. You guys, I'm going to start doing these lives as an educational opportunity to talk about what I want to call the money reset. The money reset is all about getting our finances in order. I've had the opportunity over the last 8+ years to have hundreds and thousands of conversations around the topic of finance. I've been in the insurance industry since 2017, helping people with health insurance and Medicare and life insurance, investments, dental, vision, hearing, and a lot of it has created opportunities to have conversations about finances, about money, about retirement planning, about inflation and cost of living and investing and planning and all of it. And it's a common theme that I get the opportunity to talk to people with. And one thing that's really frustrating is I want to share information that helps people. And so in the moment of helping people with insurance, yeah, I can help them and I can guide them in their insurance to find the thing that's best for them in that moment and at that time. But the other hard thing is it doesn't solve the problem of them being frustrated with taxes or inflation or retirement planning or any of those things. And that's the financial services industry, period, is they only make money if something's being sold. Even financial advisors and financial planners. I went to school, started a training program, and never was it about helping people with their finances and creating a financial plan. It was about selling products, life insurance and 401ks and Roth IRAs and investments and mutual funds and all these things. And I'm like, hey, this is great. Like, I know I can help people through these things, but I'm not going to help them achieve financial freedom. I'm not going to help them achieve their financial goals, financial wealth, financial abundance, whatever it is that someone desires. And I don't know about you, but there's a lot of noise in the world today, especially today through social media, talking about inflation, talking about the government, talking about taxes, talking about everything that's going on. And a lot of it is negative. A lot of it is like putting people down or things down or systems or processes or the government or any of those things. It's negative. And I've even found myself a couple of times being in a moment of letting myself get caught up in the scarcity and the sadness or the frustration or the irritation of finances. And I want to be a voice. I want to be a voice for good. I believe there's a lot of good going on in the world. I believe there's a lot of good things happening, and I want to share those things. And so this is my opportunity. I realize maybe right at the start, this is going to be a little spotty. But if I don't start, I'm never going to get anything going. So you guys, this is my effort. This is my try. This is my getting out of my comfort zone to offer some insight. And I hope this insight can be something that helps you guys financially. And I'm going to teach from my perspective of the things that I've learned, the things that I've done, the things that I've been working on. I don't know everything. I don't know everything at all. But I'm going to teach and share the things that have helped me. So I'm going to use a book. And in today's thing, so I printed this off because I couldn't find my dang book. I think I loaned it to somebody, and I don't know where that thing went. But I'm going to use this and teach from a book that I really enjoy called The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. And Clayson, however they say it. You guys, money is a tool. Money is a resource. The other crazy thing about money is it's not real. Do you guys realize the dollar, the $5, the $10, the 20, the 50, the 100, the penny, all of them, they're not real anymore. In the early 1900s, they created the Federal Reserve. And then in 1970, I think it was 1971, 72, somewhere right there, they got rid of the gold standard. Meaning, it's not real. You guys, a $20 bill is a $20 bill because you and I agree that it's a $20 bill. Other than that, it has no value. It has no truth or anything to it. So I want to share some things through all of this, teaching about, we still use money. Money's still important. Money's a tool. Money's a resource, but it's not real. And in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, there is a gentleman in there, Arkad. I don't know if that's how you say the name, but that's how I read it when I'm reading the book. The name of the book is The Richest Man in Babylon. And the gentleman in there, his name is Arkad. And he's a wealthy individual, very wealthy. And he becomes so wealthy that like the king of the land, king of Babylon, king of that area, actually knows. And so the king goes to Arkad and says, hey, I want you to teach. I'm pretty sure if I remember right in the book, he says, I'm going to get 100 men in the community, in the city here, and I would like you to teach them. And if we teach them these things, and then they teach, and they teach, and they teach, and they teach, could we become a very wealthy city, a wealthy country? And Arkad's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll be a service to the king. And so Arkad gets these people together, and I'm going to read this right here. It says, the king of Babylon asked Arkad, the city's richest man, to teach the people why Babylon prospers while so many citizens struggle. Arkad gathers the people to learn how they think about money. So Arkad wants to know how they think about money. I made a little snippet right here that I'm going to go through. But you guys, this story, the thing that I really want to paint here is what Arkad discovers. You guys really need to read the story. So they all earn money, yet most of it disappears as fast as it arrives. They confuse earning with wealth. They spend first and hope there is something left to save. They lack a system for directing money with intention. Okay, I want you to talk about, or I want you to really go over something. The other night I couldn't fall asleep, so I turned the book on. Now, I listen to books sometimes to fall asleep. And so I was listening to The Richest Man in Babylon, and I was right on this section where they talk about where Arkad's talking to the people. And he says, I want you guys to understand something is you all earn money. Some earn a lot of money, some earn a little money, but yet you are all broke. You are all financially struggling with money. You all are living paycheck to paycheck. You are all struggling. So it doesn't matter if you make $10,000 a month, you make $5,000 a month, or you make $1,000 a month. It doesn't matter. In this situation, Arkad is talking to these people. You all make different styles, different amounts of money, but yet you are all broke. They confuse earning with wealth. They spend first and hope there is something left to save. They lack a system for directing money with intention. You see, this is what really gets me fired up, because in the conversations that I have over and over and over with people is everybody's complaining about inflation. Everybody's complaining about the cost of things. Everybody's complaining about taxes. Everybody's complaining that wages haven't risen with inflation and all of these different things that are happening. Yet the interesting thing is people did the same thing in 2015, 2019, 2010, 2005, 2000, 1990, and on. We've always been complaining about inflation. We've always been complaining about wages. We've always been complaining about everything. I remember growing up listening to family, listening to neighbors, listening to the community, listening to people. I've always been interested in money. I've always been interested in creating financial success, wealth, and abundance. And so I've always been aware of these things and listening, and I've always heard people complaining. I was born in 1994, grew up in the early 2000s. I really remember those years. I remember like 9/11 and all these things. Like I was a young kid in these moments. But yet people were always complaining about money. But I think about it and I'm like, well, I remember when gas was $1 a gallon. And I remember listening to some of my family or other people and I'm like, man, they make pretty good money. I remember hearing people make $100,000 a year, $80,000 a year, 120, 150. Like I remember hearing all these different things. But then you look back and you're like, well, gas was $1. Taxes were hardly nothing compared to what they are now. The cost of houses, the cost of land. Like I look at what my mom and dad bought, I don't even know, 6, 7, 8, 900 acres. You couldn't even buy 50 acres for what they bought it from back then. But yet people complained about the cost of land. They complained about the cost of housing. They complained about the cost of taxes. They complained about water rights and all of these things that we complain about on a daily basis. So our COD teachers right here, they all earn money, yet most of it disappears as fast as it arrives. Do you think maybe that even though inflation is high, even though taxes are high, even though all of these things, I get it. And I love what Robert Kiyosaki says in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. His rich dad teaches him that in a properly ran economy, costs would go down. Well, we haven't seen a properly ran economy for a very, very, very long time. Is that frustrating? It's 100% frustrating. Very frustrating. But guess what? We can sit here and complain and get frustrated about it, or we can learn from it. Okay? So he teaches these things. We all earn money. So do you think we need to take a little bit of a responsibility ourselves? Because as the American people, all I do is sit here and look at and watch people complaining about the cost of groceries, cost of vehicles, cost of this, and cost. Do you think we're a little bit to blame here? Like, does any of this feel like we need to take responsibility? Because we can sit here and blame everybody else if we'd like. We really can. We can blame everybody else. Or we can take responsibility and do like our COD says here. In the story, you guys, he desired to be rich. He desired to learn how to really use money. So he sought out a rich person. And he actually did work for this rich person. He needed some scribing. You know, they had the clay plates. They didn't have paper. They had clay plates. And he did some scribing for him. He said, I will get all of this done for you if you will teach me about becoming rich, becoming wealthy, being smart with money. And so he did that. And he started teaching him the principles of money. He started teaching him what money is, how money works, how to grow and leverage and build money. You guys, it is a tool and a resource. Money is a tool and a resource. And if we use this tool, if we use this resource, we can create anything that it is that we want. But if we continue to do the same things over and over again, it is January 6th, 2026. Right now, currently. January 6th, it's a brand new year. I want you to think of 2025. If you do the same things in 2025 that again in 2026, do you think anything is going to get better? Like, honestly, I want you to really freaking think about it. If you do things the exact same way, is anything going to be different? You might get a cost of living raise, but what is that? What is that going to do? Like, that's not even going to add $5,000 to your income for pretty much everybody. Cost of living. This is the funny part. The government tells us inflation's like 3 to 4%. You guys, if it was 3 to 4%, do you think we'd be hurting so bad financially when we go to the gas pump, or we buy groceries, or we go to pay our taxes, our property taxes, or we go to buy all the things that we need on a daily basis just to live, utilities and food and all these different things? If inflation was 3 to 4%, we'd be okay. They are freaking lying to us. The Federal Reserve is a private company. It is completely private, completely independent. And yet, the American people think it's federal. It's the government. You guys, the Federal Reserve controls all the banks. It controls the IRS. And it is controlled by a few people. Okay? The Federal Reserve was put into place. You need to go study these things. The Federal Reserve was a central banking system that was created by a few people to centralize banking so that they have control of everything. Don't you think this is important? Don't you think it's important to realize that money isn't real? The dollar, the 20, the 50, the 100, all of these things, they're not real. They literally are as good as a piece of paper. But the only reason why they have value is because we agree that they do have value. They're not backed by gold. They're not backed by silver. They're not backed by nothing. I share these things with you because it's important to understand these things. When COVID hit and we were all getting those stimulus checks, you want to know why inflation is so bad and why the cost of living has gotten so bad? In 2020, 2021, 2022, all of that time when the government was just giving money away, the Federal Reserve was literally just printing whatever they wanted. They're like, hey, let's print $20 billion this month, and we're going to give it all to the American people and think that they're solving the problem. Well, don't you think that has some repercussions? It's exactly why our inflation is so freaking bad right now. Okay? So the reason why we are in such a bad financial position in the United States of America right now is because the ignorance of the American people. The ignorance of myself and all of us. You guys, they are doing things, the banks, the insurance companies, the government, the IRS, rich people, people that are all in the good old boys club, a part of all these secret combinations and all these different things that are going on in the government. You guys, they have control of everything. And the reason why they can have control of everything is because the American people is not strong enough independently to stand up to them. I love this whole thing going on all over social media right now about taxes and that we need to stop paying taxes and we need to strike against the government. We freaking do. We 100% do. Is it going to happen? I'm 100%. I'll stop paying taxes right now. I mean, I only pay taxes at the end of the year. I'll 100% stop paying taxes. But we've got to do it as the American people. This is the scary thing. I want you guys to look back at COVID. I want you to look back at what happened. I think all of us kind of realize now COVID was a bunch of BS. The whole wearing the mask. You guys, they were covering up so many other things. We're not going to get into all the political stuff. But it was 100% a cover-up. But we were blinded. We were 100% blinded. And now we sit and look at this and see what's going on. You see, during COVID, we literally had companies and corporations telling their employees, their team members, the government telling us, churches, everybody, that if you don't wear a mask, you can't fly. You can't go to work. You can't be in public. You can't go do these things. They shut everything down, and then they started pushing a vaccine that hadn't been researched, that hadn't been studied, that had zero information behind it. And then they got so far as, if you don't get the vaccine, you're going to lose your job. Okay, so they say that, and they look at these things. Well, I know so many people that didn't agree with it. But they're like, what do I do? I have to take it or I lose my job. Well, it's like, well, quit. There's other jobs. I can't. Why can't you? I'm paycheck to paycheck. Why are you paycheck to paycheck? Like, what are you freaking doing? So look at that now. because of we don't know how to manage money, because we all earn money, yet most of it disappears as fast as it arrives. They confuse earning with wealth. They spend first and hope there is something left to save. They lack a system for directing money with intention. So I want you to look at this. They spend first and hope there is something left to save. How many times have we heard that? Oh, I'll save at the end of the month. I'll save what's left. Okay? Because millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. They have zero savings, zero reserves, zero food storage. They literally have to have a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, whatever the system is, to even make it. Now the government has control. They literally have control and can tell us, go get a vaccine or you get fired. Wear a mask or you get fired. You can't be in public. You can't do this. You don't pay your taxes. They have control. 100% control. Look at our food stamp system. Look at our Medicaid. Look at all of our government subsidized. When the government was shut down a couple of months ago for a long time, look how many people were freaking out. How am I supposed to feed my family? It's not the government's job to feed families. Now, I'm 100% totally a believer in supporting and helping each other. I am grateful that we have built a country that if somebody has a rough thing happen or bad situation, that we have programs and situations to help people. I'm not saying that we need to get rid of all of those things. What I'm saying is it is not the government's responsibility to take care of us, but we have created dependency on the government. Look how many people are retiring. If you guys could see how many people are retiring right now that are living paycheck to paycheck. They are living just off Social Security. I want you guys to go look at Social Security and the ruling and the laws written behind Social Security. It was for the purpose of insurance. It was for the purpose of Medicare and health insurance and copays and deductibles and end-of-life expenses for healthcare. Social Security was, never created for the purpose of retirement. It was never created for retirement income. So why do you think Social Security is failing? Because the American people is putting a ton of pressure on the government, saying, how are we supposed to retire on this? Well, it was never created for the purpose of retirement. So the freaking Democrats and all these different politicians and stuff are like, we got to raise Social Security. We got to raise it. We got to raise it. We got to raise it. It was never created for that purpose. So we are literally abusing a system that was never created for what it's being used for. Think about Medicaid. Think about food stamps. Think about all unemployment, all of these different things. You guys, we have millions and millions and millions of people dependent on these systems. So guess what? The government can tell us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. My philosophy, my idea, my goal, my dream, my vision, the reason why I'm doing this kind of stuff is like, man, what if we could create independence? What if I could help 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, 10 million, something, one person? What if I could help one person from the information that I've studied and that I've read? What if we could collaborate together and we could learn what money is, how money works, and what to do with money, and we could create financial independence? So much that if the government tells us to do something that we don't agree with and we don't believe in, we don't have to. That's my thought. That's my vision on all this. So let's continue on with the richest man in Babylon, Arkad. His core teachings. I'm gonna share some things. Actually, I'm gonna share a story with you guys. So I started studying money in high school, but out of high school. I was really interested. You guys, I remember a moment I want to say I was in like junior high. I was always interested in like my mom and dad. My mom had a job, my dad had a job, and I grew up on a cattle ranch. So they had like a separate business that was the ranch. And they would always talk about like the ranch account or the ranch business, right? when they would sit down to pay finances and manage their finances, they would have all their personal stuff, but then they also had the ranch stuff. And so they would get all of their stuff out on the table and checkbooks and everything that they were doing to manage their finances. Well, I was interested in it. So I remember one time, do you know those notebooks? God, what the heck are they? You can get them in wide ruled or college ruled. Why can I not remember the name of the notebook? You can still buy them today. But anyway, I had one and it was yellow. And it had the metal rings. And I went and got it. And I think I had a little bit of money, some change and a little bit of cash. And I was like excited about it. And I remember I went and sat at the end of the table. And my mom and dad were doing all their finance stuff. And I remember I got my money and I made a couple of columns. And I wrote how much cash I had and how much change I had. And then I was like, oh, what else do I do? And I always thought, like, man, that's cool. Another thing that I always thought was really cool, because as a kid, I only had that little bit of cash or that little bit of change. And if I wanted to go buy something, like, it's all I had. But my mom and dad had, like, their personal banking stuff and then the ranch banking stuff. And if for some reason, I don't know, if a card bounced or check bounced or they didn't have cash or whatever, they'd be like, oh, use this one. And I'm like, wow, they have multiple forms and multiple accesses to money. And I always thought that was kind of cool. So just kind of sharing my backstory, I've always been interested in finance. I've always been interested in what money is, how money works, and what to do with it. The next thing is watching families struggle financially, it bugged me. A lot of kids don't care. A lot of kids don't pay attention to it. I did. I really paid attention to it. And I remember moments where I was like, I can't do this because I don't want to cause more financial stress or struggle for my parents. Like, I was always mindful of what was going on financially in my family and around me. So when I graduated high school and I moved out and I went out on my own, I started realizing, man, I gotta learn about money. I gotta study. So I started pursuing reading. YouTube, Facebook, all these things were there, but not really to the extent that they are today. So I turned to books. I started reading books from successful people, financial guru type people. I just started studying everything I could. And through that, it took me down a lot of rabbit holes. I would study one person so much to where I'd read every one of their books. I'd listen to their podcast or radio show or YouTube thing. And then I'd be like, okay, I really like this. But they would talk about someone or mention someone that they learned from. So I'd go get their stuff and then their stuff and then their stuff. And I've been doing that for over 10 years now. I wouldn't call myself a crazy expert in money. I've just been interested in these things. And so when I got married, my wife and I got married in 2016, I really was like, okay, I got to figure this money thing out. Like, I really got to figure this out because I've now got a wife. I take it very seriously from my perspective, you guys. In a simple terms, I believe the husband's role is to provide and protect. And I believe the wife, the mother's role is to like nurture and take care of the kids and like be that nurturing. My wife and I take those things very seriously. And so from my perspective, I was like, I've got to figure this freaking money thing out. Like, how am I going to take care of my wife? Like, now I've got a wife that I got to provide for. You know, I can go without. I'm okay if I can't eat for a day or I got to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for 12 days in a row. Like, I'm good with that. I can do that kind of crap, but I'm not going to make my family do that. And so I was very serious in committing to creating financial success and abundance and creating an abundant lifestyle. I watched my mom my whole life want a house and still to this day doesn't have one. I watched my mom struggle financially, my dad struggle financially, figuring out jobs, aunts, uncles, all these things. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And the other thing is seeing other people, you know, have nice houses, have nice vehicles, seem to enjoy life a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they're 100% leveraged on credit cards. I don't know. But they've figured something else out. I mean, they've been able to buy those things and do those things, so maybe they know something. So I'm always trying to look at everything from some perspective of what can I learn from it. And so I went down this rabbit hole for a long time now of studying what is money, how does money work, what to do with money, and how to create financial success. And I've developed this thought process that there is no right way. You guys, I don't believe that there is one right way when it comes to money. I don't believe that you should do this and you have to do this and you have to. Like, there's a lot of people online right now, right? They're like, you have to get out of debt and you have to invest in your 401ks and your mutual funds and you have to, get your house paid off and you have to pay cash for your vehicles and you have to. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that there's one right way. I don't believe there's one philosophy. I don't believe in any of those things, but I do believe that the system that works is the one that you believe in. And I'm meaning you that is watching this, you that is really paying attention to this. I mean you. That financial system that's going to work for you. I got to figure something else out with my microphone, you guys. I thought it was going to work just fine, but it's all right. We got her. What I mean by this is one person may love this investment and this saving and this and this and this, and another person may not. I've seen many, many, many people have really good retirements, really bad retirements, okay retirements, and nothing at all. And some people did really good in one thing and some people didn't do good in one thing. And I've started realizing, oh man, all of these financial tools, you guys, there's a lot of financial tools, retirement investment accounts, insurance, investing in real estate, investing in the stock market, crypto, growing a business. Like, they're all financial tools. I mean, owning a business, starting a business, growing a business, it's a financial tool. You go do it and it creates cash flow. Every financial tool is created for a purpose. And we need to learn what that purpose is. We need to find out what that purpose is and leverage that and use it for what it was created for. Not saying one thing is better than the other and one thing's bad and one thing's good. There's good in all of those things. And so I really want to plant into your minds to create your own wealth creation plan, defined by you, created by you. What's important to you? What's not important to you? What are your true desires and goals and dreams and passions? What gets you excited? What doesn't get you excited? Let's create a financial plan around all of those things. If you're one that is just crazy passionate about buying rental properties and creating a rental portfolio, and that's your retirement plan, do it. Like, if that's what you're passionate about and that's what you love, why would you invest in all of the other things that you don't believe in? I'm talking about even like company-sponsored retirement accounts. If you don't believe in them, why would you invest in those things? And I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just sharing from a perspective of like opening your mind up to like really thinking for yourself for a moment on, well, man, I really want to be a real estate investor. So why are you putting money somewhere else? Don't you think if you were really passionate and desired it greatly that you would be successful with it because you would make it successful? And so that's my whole thought process around this, okay, is creating a wealth creation plan defined, created, and designed by yourself. You and your spouse, you personally, whatever your family situation is, you need to create that based on your goals, desires, and dreams. This whole philosophy and idea, I call it the money reset. You guys, everybody needs a reset with money, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck, especially if you have undesired debt and things that are holding you back. You guys, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. Not all debt is bad. Credit cards are very valuable. Life insurance is valuable. Mutual funds is valuable. Real estate is valuable. Everything has value to it. I love credit cards. I only use credit cards. I don't even have a debit card. I do not like debit cards, but I've studied and learned how to use them from a beneficial standpoint, and I don't abuse them, okay? It's a financial tool, and I learned how to use the tool to benefit me. So creating your wealth creation plan is 100% based on creating your own financial independence. And I want you guys to do that. And the reason why I share the story of our COD is because they all earn money, yet most of it disappears as fast as it arrives. Here's some core teachings. You guys, I was getting into the story. I got off on another tangent. So my story, my wife and I are married, and I'm making about $800 to $1,000 a month. That was it. And remember I said, I was like, I got to figure this freaking money thing out. Well, after multiple months going on 6, 8, 9, almost a year of being married, and we're just living paycheck to paycheck, have zero extra money. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm sick and tired of this. I was studying a few people, and I was like, I got to learn new information because this isn't working. Like, I need to learn how to manage my money that I have now in a very specific way, and then I need to focus on increasing income. Because if I only make $1,000 a month, it don't matter how good we are at managing our money. We're never going to make it financially. $1,000 a month is not going to go anywhere. So there's some core principles in this book. A portion of all you earn is yours to keep. I call this the pay yourself first principle. What I mean by the pay yourself first principle is every time you guys get paid, who are you paying first? Do you pay your mortgage? Do you pay your cars? Do you pay your utilities? Do you pay your credit cards? Do you pay all of your other expenses? And if there's money left at the end, then I save. Because that's what I was doing, and it wasn't freaking working at all. So this whole concept of a portion of all you earn is yours to keep is based on the pay yourself first principle. So I started studying this like a madman. What does this mean? How do I use this? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And as I did that, I kept coming across the principle of everything you earn, a portion of it is yours to keep. Well, I didn't have a lot of extra. So I literally said, to kind of make this story a little bit quicker, it's like, all right, I'm going to open a savings account in my bank, and I'm going to put $25 there. I don't flipping know how I'm going to do this. We're paycheck to paycheck every single month. There's nothing extra. Sometimes we have to pull a little money from savings just to take care of a few things that come up. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to do it. And I put $25 in a specific labeled savings account within our checking banking account, right? You can have your checking and then multiple different savings. I took $25 and put it in a specific savings account, and I said, I can't touch it. This is for the purpose of investing. I was like, this is to start a business, to do something to make more money with. So unless it is going to make me more money, I can't use this money. And I put $25 in there. The month goes by, and we're just fine. We lived just the same we did the month before. We were tight. We were broke. But I didn't even recognize that money being gone. I was like, interesting. I'm going to do it again. Month 2, another $25. Now I got $50. Now I got 75. Now I got 100. And I started realizing, like, holy cow, this is fun. I've actually got money growing. I got money building. It's only $25 a month, but it's not taking anything away from our lifestyle. How is that working? And I was paying tithing, you guys. I'm a believer in paying tithing. We were paying tithing and doing everything else. Well, then I started getting a challenge. I said, all right, I know how much I'm making. I know how much our expenses are, our rent and all of our expenses. I know our money. Like, I've done this 3, 4, 5, 6 months now. I've saved up a couple $100, and I know our money. What if I could do 30, then 35, then 40, then 45, then 50? And I noticed as I started increasing those things, my income also started to increase. At this moment, I took some of that money and I started my insurance business that I'm a part of right now. And I started focusing all of my effort and energy on increasing income. My wife ended up getting a job with the university of where she was going to school. That increased our income. And then in my business, I started increasing my income with that. So then I was like, now I can pay myself 10%, then 12%, then 15%, then 20%. And I continued to challenge ourselves. How much could we put away? I got to the moment, the highest I ever did was 33%. And we did this for years. You guys, we lived in this town. It was Logan, Utah. My wife was going to school at Utah State. We lived there for 5 years. And in that 5 years, 4 of it, we really used this system, and we just saved and saved and saved and saved. You know, I started making $2, $3, $4 grand a month. My wife was making, I think, like $1,600 a month. So you start taking 10, 20, 30, 33% of that income. You guys, we were putting a good amount of money away every single month. And it started with $1,000 a month, and it started with $25. But we built a principle, we built a system, we built a muscle, we built a discipline, and this is what we do, this is how we do it. So that a portion of all you earn is yours to keep. Wealth begins not with income, but with discipline. I love that because it really did, you guys. We did not have wealth. We did not have money, but we took that discipline of $25 a month and turned it into multiple figures of money. Those who do not learn to keep money will never have money. Control expenditures before seeking more income. Money must be guided or it will disappear. Control expenditures. You guys, this is becoming a steward of your money. Do you know how much you're making? Do you know what your fixed expenses are? Do you know what your variable expenses are? And do you know where you're saving and investing in your plans? A wealth creation plan. What are you working towards? What are your goals? What are your dreams? And are you the steward? This is not an income problem. It is a stewardship problem. So the modern application, the money reset. You guys, we don't have an inflation problem. We don't have a money problem. We don't have a government problem. We don't have a commissioners and school board and all these things problem. We can point the fingers at them all we want. We can put the blame on them all we want. And we can continue to do so and just continue to go down the road of freaking struggling financially as a country, as a people. Or we can start taking responsibility and realizing, oh, the problem isn't the income. The problem isn't taxes. The problem isn't inflation. The problem is our own personal stewardship. I want you to think about it. If half of America, 350 million people now? So 175 million? Is that half? I think so. What if 175 million people in America were completely financially independent? They don't need the government. Nobody can tell them what to do, how to do it, or why to do it because they know their money. They've saved, they've invested, they've grown, they're disciplined, they're stewards, they have good management practices, they've increased income, they've created income, they've built income, they've created an independence where it doesn't matter what freaking happens with taxes and all of these different things. So when the government proposes something, the American people says, nope, we ain't doing that. Well, why aren't you doing that? Because we don't freaking agree with it. Why don't you agree with it? Because it's unconstitutional. Everything they're trying to do is unconstitutional all the flipping time. Can you imagine if 175 million people in the United States of America was completely independent and stood up to the government and said, we're tired of your BS. We're tired of the taxes. We're tired of the Federal Reserve. We're tired of BlackRock. We're tired of the IRS. We're tired of this banking system that has been created. We're tired of all of these governments giving away our money to other countries and other programs and systems. We're tired of the people going into the government making $150,000 a year, but somehow being worth $120 million 30 years later. The math ain't mathing, you guys. But we don't have much of a leg to stand on because we aren't financially independent ourselves. So when we go to try to balk at the government, they're like, well, what are you going to freaking do? Can you imagine if we had true stewardship over our money? We have clarity. We are independent. We are financially strong. Can you imagine what would happen in that state? Can you imagine? I want you to just think about it for a second. What if you had a financial system? What if all the money you earned, you kept some of it and you invested and you grew and your income grew because of your discipline? You controlled your expenditures and you increased your income. What about the stewardship, clarity, paying yourself first is the foundation of wealth. Systems remove emotion from money to... What if all of these principles became true in your own personal life? And next thing you know, you had an emergency fund. You had all your silly debt paid off, and you weren't controlled anymore. You hate your job, you can quit it because I can go 6 months without a job. I'm going to go live my passion. I'm going to go explore. I'm going to dream. I'm going to build. I'm going to go create. What if you had that freedom? Complete freedom. That is what Arkad teaches in The Richest Man in Babylon. He literally started out with nothing. He was so freaking poor. But he just exercised this principle. Portion of all he earns was his to keep. And then he built that and built that and built that and then invested it to grow income. And then just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And now, in the story, by the end of the story, you guys, he teaches how he has so many streams of income, so much income coming to him that he's the richest man in Babylon. And he taught these principles, and they became the richest city in history. America could be way, way, way more and way bigger than that. So you guys, I wanted to share these things. It's going to be rough around the edges. I've racked my brain to build this, my platform and this system and everything that I want to talk about financially. But the goal here is to help you guys with a money reset, because that's exactly what I had to go through. I had to go through a full money reset. I had to figure out my income. I had to figure out my expenses. I had to figure out where my money was going, and I had to face the hard truth. You guys, the hard truth is, it's time to sit down and look at what's going on with your finances. I know it sucks, and I know you want to just continue to just push it aside. I'm okay. I think I'm all right. I'm just going to push it aside and push it aside and push it aside. You can't do that. It's time to face your money. It's time to face your system. It's time to create a wealth creation plan and to learn new principles, new philosophies, new ideas, new education around money. And I want to help you guys with those things. So I plan to do this every single day. I plan to do it between 11 and 1 o'clock. I'm still getting that nailed down, my system of when I'm going to go live every single day. I'm going to post this. We're going to take clips from this. I'm going to do as much as I can to put out content and information to help create financial abundance and wealth, and to help you guys with the money reset. Reset your life, reset your finances. So these are the things that I'm sharing with you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is the first one. My name is Jared Briggs. I'm here to, I want to create a movement. I want to help people win financially. I'm tired of watching people struggle financially, and it's nobody's fault but our own. So I'm going to pause some of these things and go check some comments and stuff. I got to figure out how to do all these things, but we're getting there. You guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You guys have an amazing day. Be the master, and the money reset is a good thing. You guys go reset yourself with your finances and start winning financially. I'm out. How do we shut it off?